Yeah. They point their fingers, aim at my head. Nobody wants to rock with their nonsense instead. They say we're family like that means a thing, but words got teeth sharp enough to sting. You throw it out there, expecting me to fold. Consequences come fast, mean and cold. It's okay, blame me. I'll wear the weight straight and under pressure, accept my fate. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Do what they want without a second thought. Try to speak up, get yourself caught. Say whatever with a smile painted on. Then they act surprised when I'm already gone. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Can't be the scapegoat forever and a day. Somewhere between I'm lost in the fray. But you'll keep swinging long as you can. Blame it all on me, it's a perfect plan. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses and the broken toys. But at the end of the day, you will always be trash. Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses, blame me for the broken toys. But at the end of the day, you all will always be trash.
Blame me for the silence, blame me for the noise. Blame me for the losses and the broken toys. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed. Put it all on my back, call it what you need. Big wide target for your anger to feed.
All right, so the Tech Barbarians and I are embarking on a new project, right? So let me put up a 5-minute timer. So I will put it like this. We have put down our quotes application, which would be, we're still gonna, like, on the side, probably adding more quotes to it and stuff like that. But we are not going to actively be our first priority as what we're working on. We're going to be moving into a new application. This application is going to be based on interview preparation and resume stuff, because from what I see, a lot of people they do very, very poorly when getting ready for interviews. They don't know how to prep for them. They don't know how to plan for them. They don't know how to practice for them. So we're going to be building out some type of application. Right now, I have put one of my Tech Barbarians as as the lead to figure out what it is that we're going to build based on what she has experienced in the past few weeks. And that way we are going to be planning it all out, and we're going to build it the same way that we build any other application. So the reason I bring this up is because I know that there are so many people who are like, "Ugh, I just can't get a break. I just can't get a break. No one's taking a chance on me." And Magnetar, my guy, he'll say, "You're just mean," which I am mean, but with good reason. Nobody has to take a chance on you. If somebody decides to, then that is out of the kindness of their heart. But in the real world, in business, it's not about taking a chance, right? It is not about taking a chance.
What's
What in
this?
the world?
Oh, it's only money.
We got my guy, Magnetar, in the building. Shout out to my guy, Magnetar. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I am going to read that as soon as I'm done. My guy, Magnetar, is the man.
We the best. I appreciate you.
But what I was saying, though, is that so many people are like, "Oh, I don't have any experience," and no one wants to take, like, how am I supposed to get experience? And then the only thing you have on your resume is that internship that the boot camp gave you, where it's not really a real internship, and it's like you can't really explain what you did. And I asked you, like, all right, so now when you speak to me, I'm like, all right, do you know how to use GitHub? No. Do you know how to use Git? No. Do you know how to use Docker? Do you know how to start an application locally? No. And I'm like, well, guess what? If I'm coaching you, then I will actually show you how, not show you, but I will have you learn how to do that stuff. But if I'm hiring you, then the answer is
do not come,
because I have the expectation of you as a QA person, as a software person, that you know how to do these things already. Not that there is no, to me, on the job training is stuff that is unique to the job, not how to actually do the bare minimum of the job. I am not going to be hiring somebody to say, well, this is your first real web development project. No, you need to have built something that has importance already. You know what I mean? Or at least participate on it. So right now, at the beginning of this project, you would have the opportunity to participate in the end-to-end development of whatever, of like getting this application off the ground, and get some DevOps experience. I have somebody who is learning. They are going to school for network engineering, but guess what? Network engineering is it's going to be DevOps, right? It's going to be DevOps, and I'm like, well, you have no experience. I want you to go and get your CCNA and all your certifications. Those are great. But guess what? If you do not know how to actually do the work, then I couldn't care less about your little certification. The certification might get you an interview, but if you don't know how to do the work, then I don't care. Right? So I'm like, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. As we build out this project, you're going to be learning how to actually use these cloud providers so that we can be able to deploy this. I need you to set up the infrastructure. And throughout the whole process, there's spots for people to plug into to build something. And what I do is we're actually going to deploy it where you can have this as it's not a project, it's an application.
Back to work, chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work.
I have the people that I'm coaching build actually real applications that there can actually be users for to get real feedback. And that way, now when you're talking about your experience, it's like, yeah, I just logged into some fake e-commerce site and I created a bunch of fake test cases and test plans with 1,000 other QA people on the call, or I just built this to-do list over and over and over again. No. Based on the needs that I see from the people that I'm coaching with, that I'm talking with, from my Patreon members, all of that, right? I'm like, all right, well, let's how can we build this application? And that's what my guy Don does all the time as well. So I'm like, I'm like, well, you had this need, and I'm like, well, let's just build something around it so that it can be a self-service, you know? So if you are trying to build experience, then you might want to tap in so that you can be a part of this project so that you can have something that you can articulate. One of the people that I was coaching a while back, they said that, oh, they were in college, they had just did a boot camp, they wanted a refund from their boot camp, right? But I said, on like the first coaching day, I said, do you know how to use Docker? No. I'm like, all right, well, I need you to install Docker and I need you to do this. And they were like, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, I don't care. Honest to God truth. Honest to God truth. Magnetar, I told them this, Magnetar. I said, I don't care what you think. I said, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, I don't care what you think. I was like, I said this. I said this.
It doesn't matter what you think.
I was like, I don't care what you think, because guess what? I know this and you don't. So if I say that you can do it, then you can do it. And if you get stuck, I'm right there to bring down a rope, a ladder, and lend a helping hand to lift you out of the hole that you're stuck in, right? So I'm like, I don't care. I do not care what you think, because you don't know what you don't know. And then within 3 weeks, right? They are starting applications locally through Docker, and then having them use Docker Compose and stuff like that, so that they can actually be able to test locally. They're spinning up, making MongoDB queries and stuff like that. I'm like, there you go. So to me, that right there is experience. You might not have that, and that's a little bit. That's a little bit of experience, just barely enough to get you to the starting line. But guess what? You're at the starting line. So that's why I do it the way that I do. And for those who want to become a tech barbarian, a tech project member, those are the 2 tiers who actually get to participate in the projects. Then you go to techcoach.dev and you can sign up over there, and I can find a place based on your goals to plug you in if you're looking for that experience, right? I also coach people who don't need that particular experience, but yeah. So anyways, that is that. Well, guess what? Time is up. I guess there is no time to slide into my GitHub. I'm kidding. Let's take a look at the GitHub real quick. I will go over here and let me pull up my GitHub, and then we will switch over GitHub. All right. So, this is my GitHub. I probably don't push code as much as I should, because I'll have it on the computer. I should push more, right? But basically, what I have in my Git, if I go to my repositories, what I have in here are the different projects that I work on. So I have these private repos for our David Goggins quotes application. And then this right here, Project AI PR. So this was done by, so this is a PR that I forked, or a project that I forked over from Don. Don is copyleft dev. Don has a lot of GitHub. You know what? I'm gonna drop his GitHub in the chat real quick. GitHub copyleft dev. Don has you won't even believe how many repos Don has in his GitHub. I'm gonna drop his GitHub in the chat. There goes my guy Don right there. He has 379 repos. 379 repos. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Take a look at his repos, his public repos. It's crazy. It is total craziness. He has like different challenges and stuff like that, so you definitely want to check it out. But back to my repos. I have 26 repos. But I have that one. I have the Urban Dictionary of Economic Data app. That's the front end. It's also a private repo. I had this Mongoose type URL, which I was trying to rewrite it, but it didn't work out too well. Have the Urban Dictionary of Economic Data API. So that's the back end of it. We have the time cost calculator, which is written in Dart when we were doing our mobile application. This app that I was building that I'm not really going to build anymore because it was not worth it. Let me see, what else do we have? So we have this this software explorations for like we were exploring Playwright. So if I go ahead and I open this, so this was written in, so this was done in Playwright, and we have the main branch, and I click into my tests. And I think it's like when I first tried Playwright, I was writing it on Southwest Airlines, but this is the code. Let me see if I have actually something I could show. I will go into, let me see if this one has it. All right, so in this repo, we have the README file that I was talking about. This is an old one. This is not the one I want to use. Let me use the old one. Let's go to this one, right? So this has a README file of pretty much the README file breaks down what the app is. And it has pretty much all the details, how the technologies that we used. It has what are the prerequisites. So you need to have, let's say you were to jump on this project, you'll need to have Node, Mongo, Docker, Postman to test, MongoDB Compass to be able to make database, to like make changes in the database, how to install. And this is typically part of a README file for a repository. If you look at any of the GitHub repositories, they should have something like this. Pretty much all the data, like setting up their environment variables, how to test it, how to develop in it, things like that. The documentation for the API, I should fix this, but this is a screenshot of how the application looks. You know, basically that's what it is, right? But that is, and then, you know, you can drill down into the code. You know, you can take a look at the code and stuff like that. Let's say we go here. That's how the code looks, but that's basically it. That is basically that is basically us sliding into my GitHub. All right. All right. Well, that is it. That was, you know, brief look at some of the stuff that I have in my GitHub, the things that I'm working on. And we're going to be getting this, the project that I was talking about in there soon, because we're going to be building that out. And it's the reason, and I'm always looking for opportunities to put people in areas they're not familiar with, to make them uncomfortable, because my tech barbarian has not led the development of a project before. I said, you know what? This is on you. You're going to determine like what's the MVP, the minimum viable product. And you're going to be, you know, coming up with ideas, interviewing people like to see how we're going to build, like what do we need to build? And that way you get comfortable talking to people, you get comfortable taking the lead on a project, you get experience building something, you know? So that is the method to my madness. All right. We're going to do a little bit of research into looking for odd security operations center analyst roles, right? So let's go over to, let me go pull up a Google. You know, the old people say the Google, not just Google, the Google, right? Let's pull up the Google, and we're going to go to, let me see. Let's go over to here. Why is Google showing me news all of a sudden? I don't know. I like Google because they didn't show me news. I don't, whatever. I don't care what, I like the very last thing that I care about is about Angel Reese's anything, all right? About how she feels about anything, all right? But let's go for odd SOC analyst jobs, right? So let's see if we can find, or maybe let's say we do overnight SOC analyst jobs, right? So remote overnight, knock could work too. I could see a knock analyst role working. Let's see, 24 overnight SOC analyst roles. Let's take a look at ZipRecruiter. Let's see. So junior SOC analyst. Let's see what this has to do. Remote, full time. So let's see what this role is right here. Let me get this off the screen. All right. So Key Logic LLC is currently looking for a junior SOC security operations center analyst to support federal. What did you say? Federal? The program provides comprehensive security monitoring and incident response through 24/7, 365 monitoring and analysis of potential threat activity targeting the enterprise. I didn't start a timer. Give me a second. Timer on. All right. Let's see. To support this vital mission, this team is on the forefront of providing SOC operations to include. What in the world is that? Oh, okay. That was weird. To include triage events, security operation investigation for potential threat activity identified with the organization. So, all right, so this is what I want to see, right? While the position is primarily remote, being on site in Alexandria, Virginia may be required in the future. What? See, look at that. Magnetar, even in these jobs, they're looking to bring you back to the office. I'm telling you. I'm in a bind, Nate. So what are the hours that are available? And you know what? This might be a good opportunity for MB, for Reed Cyber Ready. It says this is a 24/7 operation with 12-hour shifts with 4 days on for 1 week and 3 days on the next week. And my guy Ferris, before he was working 10 jobs in cybersecurity, he was working overnight. He was working, he had like 3 different jobs that he was working at all type of different hours. He had one job from like 7 to 7, another job from like 7:30 to like 5, and he had another job from like 4 to, and they were like all staggered, right? All staggered. But it says that this 24/7 operation says front half days, week 1, Sunday to Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Week 2, Sunday to Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., right? Front half nights, you could be working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Week 2, Sunday to Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., right? Back half days, you can be working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. from Wednesday to Saturday, and 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday to Tuesday on week 2. And same thing for nights, right? Core days, you have a Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Midday, 7 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. And then nights, 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. So they give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different options. Corporate duties such. All right. So here's a question in the chat. Would you take one of these roles? Right? Well, not even one of these roles, because you'll probably say, "Oh, I would definitely take the core day on Monday, Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m." Well, guess what? Every other person who applies for this role would also take that job. Bruh. So my question to you is, would you take, as a junior SOC analyst, somebody with no experience, looking to get some experience? Like, let's say you went to WGU, right? Western Governors University. You took their cybersecurity program. They took care of your certifications. You fast track your education. You finish within, like, let's say 2 years, or let's say 4 semesters to keep the cost down, right? And now you are looking for a job. But guess what? It has to be remote. It has to be between 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. It is what it is, right? And they're like, well, guess what? No job for you. But so my question to you is, would you be willing to work either this Sunday to Wednesday? So you're giving up. So in both of these jobs, right? You're giving up your Sundays on the front half days, right? You're giving up your Sundays. Would you be willing to give up your full Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.? And once you get home after a 12-hour shift, you are tired. I'm tired, boss. But would you be willing to give up your Sundays in order to get your foot in the door? That's my question to you. Would you be willing to give it up? Front half nights, though. The next line. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Are you able to work a night shift, a 12-hour night shift? Are you as tough as a night nurse working 7 a.m. to 7 or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.? And guess what? it's not even as tough as a night nurse, because guess what? The night nurse has to drive to the hospital and put that work in, going from patient to patient. You are sitting at the computer, monitoring, looking for crazy activity. Maybe your developers are doing some stupid things. Maybe people are trying to hack into your system, but you're monitoring, right? Would you be willing to work to give up your Sunday nights, right? So, you're giving up your Sundays, your Mondays, and your Tuesdays.
Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
Or are you willing to give up your Saturdays? Are you willing to give up your Saturdays, right? Well, and for this one, it's only one Saturday you're giving up. You still get to keep one of your Saturdays, right? You choose. Are you going to give up your Saturday mornings or your Saturday nights? Your Friday nights, your Saturday and Friday night. I would probably recommend give up your Friday and Saturday, because that way you won't be getting into any trouble. You'll be actually making money, so you don't have to play the song "Where's My Money," right? So, what would you give up? What would you give up? Are you going to give up your Friday and Saturday? And for this one, it's only every other week that you're giving up your Friday and your Saturday, all right? Back half nights. So then, because guess what? There's a high chance that you're not going to get this job. There's also a high chance you're not going to get this job. This one might be available to you, but I'm pretty sure people are going to go after this one before they go after the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. For these, right? What are the requirements? We have 1 year of experience working in network defense environments, which they'll probably waive that 1 year difference. Maybe your internship that you do in college will be enough, right? Bachelor's degree in information tech, cybersecurity, computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering. Years of experience and or cyber certifications can be in lieu of a degree. For some reason, they keep forgetting. Those pesky kids keep forgetting to add a cyber security boot camp as well. And pretty much basically all the other standard SOC analyst type stuff, right? Salary, $60K a year. $60K a year. Would you be willing to give up your Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, nights, or days for $60K a year, right? Would you be willing to do it for $60K a year? That is the question. All right, so that's my thought. That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering, right? But the reason I pull this up is when you are getting started in a new field, you got to do what you got to do. Because like I said, nobody has to give you anything. You have to take what's available to you, and then you build experience off of that. And then as you gain experience, you can start building your own path. All right. That's all I'm saying. That is all that I'm saying. All right. Let's wrap that up. Let's go back to full screen. And before I even check the chat, we're going to jump right into our last segment of work. And then we'll wrap it up with the chat, final announcements, all of that good stuff. All right. So I'm going to put up, although there's less than 20 minutes on the clock, I'm going to put up 20 minutes because we're going to do a full show, not a partial show, but we're going to do a full show tonight. All right. Let's get to our last 20 minutes of work.
It's time to do.
Maxer says, is this a side job? Maxer, that is a full-time job. 12-hour shifts, 4 days 1 week, 3 days the other week. That gets you to 80 hours for the 2 weeks. All right. So it is a full-time job for $60K a year. Right. Ability to work greater than 40. I didn't even see that part. Ability to work greater than 40 hours per week as needed. Occasional nights and weekends work required, and or 12-hour shifts in a single day. All right. So that's a full-time job. That is a full-time job. All right. So this is a video where I was giving like my history in tech and stuff like that. This is like my second pre-recorded video that I did on this channel. So if you guys are ready to suffer with me, then let's do it. Let us do it, right? I am going to put 5 minutes on the clock because we have one more segment of work to get to, and I have a meeting at 5:30 p.m. today as well. Got a coaching call, so got to keep it moving. All right, so let me put up our 5 minutes, and let's get to watching this terrible, terrible video. Welcome back to Technical Coaching with Ralph. I am Ralph. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you a little bit about myself. I got into the IT field, where it all started. So I've been playing with computers since I was about 8 years old. I remember that my parents did not want me to have any video game consoles, but I really wanted to play video games, but I was able to have a computer. So I really wanted to play NBA Live, but my graphics card was not strong enough in order to be able to play it. So I had my mom take me to Office Depot, and I used my own money to buy a new video card, and I installed it myself into the computer. And I was able to play NBA Live and just doing research on how to update get the latest rosters, and this is all being done on PC and around maybe 98, maybe even earlier than that. But I was determined to be able to play NBA Live. So I was working with computers. My dad, he had a business that he was exporting office supplies and computers to Haiti, so I was learning about it, helping them place orders, picking up and shipping the products that we purchased. And then fast forwarding, I went to UCF for a year for computer science, but the problem was that I didn't know what computer science was. Since it had computers in the name, I chose to go with it, but that was like one of the mistakes that I make, and which I'll touch on in a later video. But I think it's really important to understand how a lot of us fail when we go for majors that we don't know what they are. But moving forward, I went to Florida Career College, and I was studying network engineering. I haven't used network engineering since I got that degree, but one of the best things that happened there was a teacher named Lazaro Diaz, shout out to Laz, but he gave me a pirated copy of Macromedia, and that's how I ended up creating my first website. It was a total disaster, but it got me into the field of web design. So from there, after Florida Career College, I got a job as a technical support analyst, and I was helping customers troubleshoot their web hosting issues, their website issues, helping them configure their emails. I learned a lot about DNS, about MX records, everything related to web hosting. And eventually I got transitioned into the web design department there. We're doing low-level templated websites for the customers who needed websites for their businesses. That was in around 2008, which we all know about the layoffs in 2008. So around 2009, I started working as a QA analyst for a website translation technology company. And so from there, that was my introduction to official QA. And in 2011, I went to automation testing using Unified Functional Testing by HP. Very expensive software, and to me, it was very clunky, not one of the best. And in 2014, in the need to automate mobile websites, the testing of mobile websites, I found out about Selenium, and I could configure that user agent to a phone's user agent, and configure the browser to the size of the phone screen. So I found that very helpful, and we transitioned the whole company's automation testing efforts from Unified Functional Testing to Selenium using Java. And that just revolutionized that company's cost and way of automation, and it revolutionized the way that I was thinking and expanded my horizons. 2016, I went to an actual software development company, and I was part of a software development team using agile methodologies. I was on a Scrum team and a Kanban team. So from there, I got to learn even more using like the AWS cloud, Docker, Rancher, API testing, how to automate it using Rest Assured. So many things came out of that. It was very beneficial to me and to my career. Introduced a lot of new concepts at that company as well. So it was kind of like a
Get a
cycle.
move on. Back
Learning
to
from
work.
them,
Chop, chop. Let's
which then
go.
I can
Come on, get
get
a
back
move
into
on.
them.
Back to
Which is
work.
one
Back
of
to
the
work. Back to
more
work.
important things about Q engineering. And since then, I've just been continuing down in QA engineering. Been a long ride, about 14 years in the industry, but it's been great, and I keep finding new and more innovative ways to engineer quality assurance practices, and I just hope to be able to share a lot more of that with everyone. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Well, there we have it. There we have it. And yes, Mitch, I am gonna cry in the car after I sign off. All I know is I am going to get a great birthday gift from the person who pestered me into playing that video. That's all I know. That is all I know. I'm gonna get a really nice birthday gift from that person. All right, let's continue. So, first break time topic. I wanted to have a quick chat about crunch time, staying focused on what matters. So I'm in crunch time, right? I have, how much time do I have left to competition? Like I have like 3 weeks left to competition, to jiu-jitsu competition, major competition that I will be at. And so I am just like trying to, I am staying focused as I can be. Whenever it comes around this time for competition, except for last year really sucked. But I am feeling great this year. All right. Did I not start this? Hold on, let me start it. I am feeling great this year. New gym, good training, focus. But whenever it comes time to competition, the way that my mind works, because it is so driven, right? That I have to pair it with something else. So it's amazing. Like every time that I have like a major competition coming up, I end up finding something to pair it with. So pairing it with like the tech music stuff that we've been doing, that has been instrumental to me because it forces me, like I wake up early and I have David Goggins screaming at me for 8 hours to focus and to work and to stuff like that. So it's great. It's amazing, right? But also it's like I also have to assess like what things I continue to do and what things like I take out, right? Because and I think that is important for everybody to always assess and reassess and say, all right, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? Should I take this out? Should I add this? You know, and for me, like, it could be little things. Like I'll probably have like try a scene on the channel, try an intro, and then modify it. Always looking to be just like 1% better every single day, and that's my goal. And that's also why you guys be like, oh my God, 5 things that we like. For me, I'm always looking to be better at all that I'm doing, right? So I'm always tinkering, right? I'm never satisfied, and I think that is a good mentality, to never be satisfied, to never be content with where you're at with what you're doing, which is going to lead into our second break. But I'm always trying to focus on like after I understand the big picture, right? Then I start to like look into, okay, what are the details now? What are the little details? What is going on? Can I make a slight adjustment here? Because in the things that I do, right, whether it is software development at work, like especially in QA, or is jiu-jitsu, it is a game of not even inches. It is a game of millimeters, right? You could be trying to choke somebody, right? You could be trying to choke somebody and your grip is off by a millimeter. And the person has the ability to breathe, and that's not good. I mean, you do want them to, oh my God, you guys are trying to get me jammed up again, right? But they have it is a game of millimeters, and the same way you can be off in some coding languages, right? Python isn't as strict, but you can be off. You could be missing a semicolon, and your code is not going to compile. It's just going to give you errors saying something's not right. So when it comes to syntax, when it comes to training these martial arts, when it comes to your life, every single detail matters. And that's why for me, I'm always I'm focused on the smallest details. And I'll tell you this, right? I drive people crazy. By how we'll be. I'll tell the people that I trade this. I trade with this. I'm like, I need to get like one of those meter sticks, because like when they're doing when they're off by very slight, I'm like a little smack, right? Like you're off, right? Like just adjust this right here, because for me, the devil is in the details, right? And for me, I'm always assessing and I'll go and play back, always having a retrospective for myself, like. When I train the tech barbarians, we have our scrum night. We do our sprint review, our retrospective, and our planning, right? But the retrospective is the opportunity to analyze, to see, okay, what did we do well, what did we do wrong? But it's also important to have a retrospective daily with yourself, right? Because for me, I always look to leave it all on the line. I want to leave it all on the line.
Let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
Because what else are you going to do? Right? So that's my thoughts behind the whole focusing on what matters. Because a lot of times we our minds will wander when you have a bunch of extra time. You start looking around here and there, all of that good stuff. Rod Brown, would you say that Eve had a lot of time on her hands? It's just a question, Rod Brown. Would you say Eve had a lot of time on her hands, that she just wandered to some tree and this looks fun to eat? I don't know. I'm just talking nonsense, all right? But with that being said, let me check the chat again, and then we're gonna get back to work. All right. How do you know when you have actually done enough? When is it enough? Because some people, they'll get started and then they're like, oh, I think I did enough for today. I think I did enough for the week or whatever, right? And other people, they just go and go and go nonstop. It's like they took a limitless pill, right? And so I'll be up till past midnight. I'll be up 4-5 o'clock in the morning, depending on what the need is, what I like, where I'm at on the things I need to do, all that type of stuff, right? And it's like, when do you take a break? When have you done enough? So for me, I assess it in a couple of different ways, right? I'm gonna start the clock, right? I assess when I've done enough in a couple of different ways. And sometimes there's simultaneously, right? So for instance, when I'll give you the general answer, right? The general answer of when I have done enough is when the immediate task at hand is done, right? I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done, right? So for me, it's like the general answer is when it's done, right? And that could mean like, all right, so I'm trying to work on something, I gotta get something out, and it is late, and I'm like falling asleep, I can't concentrate. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go to sleep, but I'm gonna wake up early to make sure I finish it on time, because the job's not finished. As Kobe Bryant, job's not finished, right? The job is not finished. So, and then like when the job is not finished, I will wake up extra early because I will be haunted by not being done. Like when all my work is done for the day and maybe even some for tomorrow, I will sleep very, very well. But when it's not done, I am haunted. I'm like, oh my God, like I shouldn't be sleeping right now. And sometimes I just sit up like the Undertaker. You guys know when the Undertaker sits up, like he thought he was down, but he sits up. That's how I'll be. I'm like, up, we got work to do. So for me, when do you know when you've done enough? The first answer is when the job is done, right? But then the other thing is like, all right, what do I have? What's the long-term goal and where am I at on that progress? And then what is the daily tasks that I need to accomplish to make progress? You know, for me, it's like, you're not done until you win, you know, and I believe that everyone gets to define winning themselves. I have my definition of winning, like when you know, at different things, right? Which it might not be defined the same way as everybody else, but it's what is the goal that is set and how are you doing on that goal? Like for your long-term goal, what's your progress? Are you tracking your progress? But what about your daily goal? You know, did I accomplish what I wanted for the day? And to put it harshly, unfortunately, right? We think that we have way more time than we really have, right? And for me, I'm like, especially like, 'cause me, I'm good, right? But I just have like this mental thing where I gotta keep going. I learn something new and I gotta run with it. All right. So I gotta keep going. But there are other people where it's like they think that although they haven't arrived to their current destination, they think they have a lot of time on their hands. And that worries me, because are you moving at the pace of the world is moving, especially like the tech industry is moving? Are you moving slower than that pace? Are you moving faster than that pace? How do you figure out your priorities? Like it's really difficult from this side of it, right? Because it's like, for me, I see things moving slowly, but for somebody else, they can say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing all that I can." I'm like, really? You think so? You think so? I don't know. So I don't know. Like it's a lot of people have asked me like, how do you get so much done? And while I'm able to multitask a lot of different things, like I'm able to say, all right, if I'm sitting in the sauna, losing weight for a competition, or just for health purposes in general, and I am chatting with somebody who needs some assistance, and I'm rendering a video. Like, so let's say I put the video I edit the video, I put it to render, and then I'm able to communicate with somebody else, help them with something, and I'm sitting in the sauna, like sweating, right? I'm piecing things together so that I can still have time to accomplish all the things that are important.
Get a move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
So with that being said, it's like, all right, how are you maximizing your time? At the end of the day, time is money, right? You don't have that much time. If you're not where you want to be, how are you maximizing your time? Even a lot of times, even when I'm eating dinner, right? I have like, and I'm not done with what I have to do. My laptop's right there, and I'm like, cutting steak with one hand, the other hand I'm not cutting steak with one hand, right? And I'm like, all right, I gotta get this description out. I gotta get this. I gotta get this project out. I gotta get ready for this meeting. Or if I'm watching something, like I cannot just sit and watch something on TV and have nothing to go with it, right? So I'm like, all right, I can split my attention, because if I can hear what's going on, I can focus on writing some code, but that's one of the things where my mind going into like 3 different spots at once, somehow it's able to focus, right? I don't know, but how do you know when you've done enough? The bottom line answer from me, for whatever it's worth, is, did you win? Did you win yet? If you have not accomplished whatever it is you set to accomplish, then free time, sleep, all that type of stuff, it shouldn't even be a thought, because that person who you can't see, but they're right there next to you, are they working just a little bit harder than you? And are they taking that opportunity that should be yours away from you? That's what haunts me, right? Especially for those that I'm coaching. I'm like, you do know that if you're not where you want to be, which if I'm coaching you, you're probably not. You're probably still like trying to. Some people are, right? But I'm like, you gotta put some pep in your step. You gotta put some pep in your step. Just my thoughts. Take it for whatever it's worth. It could be totally meaningless. It could be important. I don't know. That's just my insight. That's just how my mind works. That's just how I push myself every single day. I don't believe I'm ever finished. I think that, whenever I buy back some time, whenever I maximize my time, I just add something else to the list. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I do this? Why did I do this? I think for my birthday, I'm going to have to do a reassessment and say, okay, what are the things I'm going to take off and what are the things I'm going to keep, and figure it out that way, right? But with that being said, keeping the same energy. So let me put up 5 minutes so we can get back to work. So yesterday on stream, Ferris popped in for a quick second, trying to cause some havoc, right? But he said at the end, oh, why don't you guys keep the same energy for whatever he was talking about? And every time, and this is not directly related to what he was talking about, because guess what? Honestly, whatever he wanted me to keep the same energy on, I didn't care, right? And that's the point for this. What I want to talk about, like keeping the same energy, right? For me, when people say, "Oh, keep that same energy when X, Y, and Z," I'm like, but what if I don't care about X, Y, and Z? So I don't have the same energy for X, Y, and Z because I don't care. I have the energy for the things that I care about. And guess what? If you don't care about what I have the same energy for, then so be it. Right? But every time I hear people say, oh, just keep that same energy when this thing is doing that thing and yada, 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 I'm like, well, what if I don't care about it? Why? Like, I have energy for the things that I care about. The same way that you have energy for the things that you care about. So, if you wanted, like, what we could do is whoever has that energy that wants to be kept, can keep that same energy on whatever it is that you do. And you can, Ferris used to live stream, right? He used to be Feisty Ferris After Dark, right? Mitch, you remember how you used to hang out on Ferris's streams, right? And then he stopped, right? But here, I keep the energy that I want to keep, right? And this has nothing to do with Ferris. I'm just saying, in general, when people say keep that same energy, I'm like, no, I ain't keeping no same energy for stuff that you care about. I talk about what I care about. And now, if you wanted me to talk about something that you care about, and I actually tend to care about it, then I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. But I focus on things that I believe affect me and my family and possibly my friends. And there's some things that might affect my friends that I don't care about to talk about because maybe I don't care. I'm like, okay, that's their problem, right? So for me, I'm like, man, I don't like. And this could be for anything. Like anytime people say, "Oh, keep the same energy," right? I'm like, no, like because I don't have that energy. Like I don't. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions, beliefs, etc. Right? What what you are not entitled to, and keep this in mind, what you're not entitled to is for other people to care about what you care about. The way that I move, right? I never, ever, ever expect anyone to care about me. Simple as that. If people do, great, nice. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
But I never go into any situation expecting somebody to give two flying about me, right? Not even from my parents, my relatives. I have family members that I don't talk to, and when I say I mean like close family members that and close in like blood, whatever that's worth. But I don't talk to them because I don't keep their same energy. That's why they might want me to care about the things that they care about. I'm like, I don't care. I don't. You know, like one of my favorite quotes in the book says, "What do you think about me? I don't think about you. I don't think about you. I don't think about the things that you care about. If we align on something, great. If not, then so be it." So when people say, "Keep that same energy," I'd be like, "No, you keep that same energy. You like." We can have a conversation if you want to make a case on why I should care about it. I'll be more than happy to listen and have a conversation about it. But don't expect me to just care about the thing that you care about, because in life, and one of the hardest things for many people to learn is that nobody has to care about you. And for me, like, I'll even go as far as this, right? I got a kid. I don't expect anybody to care about my kid. That's so cute. I'm like, cool, great. But I don't expect anybody to care about him. I don't expect anybody to do anything for him. The only people who are required to do anything for my kid is me.
Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
The only people who are required to do anything for my kid is me and my wife. That's it. That is it. As much as I appreciate what his grandparents do and stuff like that, they are not required to do it at all, right? So now if I feel that way about my own family, right? Then why would you expect me to care about the things that you care about? Like, that's just how I see it. That is just how I see it. Let me check what's going on with this stream, because it's saying that's not getting any data. Let me see what's going on. Am I getting canceled? Let's see what's going on. All right, let me see. Give me a second here. Make sure we're still up and running. Don't want it to get cut off. But that's all that I want to share. That is all that I want to share. Keeping that same energy. I don't have to keep the same energy as anyone. You guys have what you guys care about. I have what I care about. And we just go from there. And if what we care about seem to line up in some way, then by all means, so be it. But if they do not, then it is what it is. All right. Let's see. Let me see what's in my ear, right? Why are you so damn mean? Right? That's what I heard. She probably didn't say it, but that's what I heard, right? So what do I mean by being a victim is expensive? Okay, well, I see so many different times that people are going after like different career changes and all this type of stuff, right? Let me start the timer. But they're going into these different career stuff, and the fact that people want to do it fast is why people get, because this is how you end up in victimhood, right? I'm gonna I'm just gonna use this as an example, right? I'm gonna just use it as an example. What we had we had the question that Varesh Patel asked earlier, right? how much Terraform and K8's knowledge required to get a high-paying DevOps job, right? So for me, that's like, honestly, that's a bad question because you can't quantify how much knowledge, right? The answer is a lot, right? To get a high paying job in any industry, you need a lot of knowledge, right? But so the reason I say like being a victim is expensive is because when we go chasing these, how can I do this quickly? How can I get rich fast? How can I get a high paying job with the least amount of work and effort? That's when you fall victimhood. Victimhood to who though? Victimhood to who? You fall victimhood to all those people who are just trying to take the opportunity to get your money, at the end of the day, right? They will like, and I'm going to kind of cover this in tomorrow's video about the evolution of quality assurance, which it's honestly going to be the evolution of the software industry as a whole. But I'm going to focus on QA because there was a question I saw about that that we touched on one of our Q&A shows, right? But what I see, all the people, should I say all? Yes, I'm gonna say all. All the people who go down the path of some type of boot camp, especially in 2024 and 2025, they're victims. You're a victim. But, do I feel sorry for you? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for you. But why do I say that you're a victim, right? Because so many people, and they even put it in the fine print on their websites. And Mitch, you were here when I would go over the numbers, right? In order for you to be eligible for a refund on some of these bootcamps websites, is that you have to do about 100 applications per week. 100 applications per week for the first 6 months. And then after you get past the first 6 months and you still haven't found one job, you probably got 2 interviews, right? Haven't found one job. Now they say, okay. Now you can reduce it to like 65 applications per week, right? But here's the problem. When we were doing the actual research, Mitch, I know you remember this, right? We were doing the actual research. The amount of applications they want you to put in do not equal to the amount of jobs that were out there. They did not equal to the amount of jobs that were out there. And I was like, and doing a general search, you're not going to find those jobs do not exist. And when I first started my channel, every single show, I would take a break. I said, all right, let's look for these manual QA jobs. Let's look for these manual QA jobs. And they don't exist. On a grand scheme of things, they don't exist, right? Now, you might find those jobs here and there. But then when you do find it, there's like 1,000 applicants for it. And then to put the cookie on top, right? They're like, but it absolutely has to be a remote job. I'm like, what? So now, and I really see now I have to bring it back to yesterday, right? So now, and I had this conversation with somebody before, right? Where I said, are you not willing to work in office? Nope. And I said, well, you're not, it's going to be very unlikely for you going to find a job remote in this particular field. It'll happen. I'm like, how do you know? I just know. I'm like, okay, cool. Now what you end up being, and they tell you for, you're going to be making, I'll use QA, right? You're going to be making about $95,000 a year doing a manual testing job, but you got to pay us about $15,000 for this boot camp. I'm like, good Lord. And then, so you go, you pay the money because, it must be good because it's expensive. I don't know how that thinking works where because it costs a lot of money, that means it must be good.
Chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. You're back to work. It
could just mean that people are willing to pay for it, right? Because look, if you are willing to pay for it, then charge as much as you can. And I don't blame the boot camps because guess what? Is it the person's fault they don't do enough research? Like, how much research do you need to do? Simple. Let me do a Google search. This boot camp's name. How many people got a job? And I'm pretty sure you'll find a lot of negative reviews, but people will bite the bullet anyways. And then they end up with not the skills needed, which I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, but not the skills needed, not the experience needed, not the tools, not the tool set and the skill set needed. But now, and they give them a terrible resume and they say, all right, now just go out there and do it and come back with your 100 applications for jobs that don't exist. And we might consider giving you a refund. You're never, ever, ever getting a refund. Right. And that's why I say being a victim is expensive, because you go and you spend a lot of money. You spend a lot of your hard earned money thinking that you're going to get a benefit out of, because they said, you know what? You're making $60,000 a year now, right? Come and take this program, and you're going to end up starting off at $100,000 a year. And then when you go to apply for the jobs, your first offer is about for $10,000 less than you were making before, and you're like, I can't afford to do this. And that's why I'm always honest and realistic with these people, with the people that I come in contact with, because like, look, it's not gonna be that way. It is not gonna be that way. So you're starting over in this instance. Like when you're getting to tech, coming from another field, you might be at the top of your field. Let's say you're capped at 60K in whatever you're doing now. But coming into tech, you might have to start at a lower 50, 55K. But what you can learn and the possibilities are endless. But there are no shortcuts in tech. There are no shortcuts in tech. And if they tell you that, oh, just pay us $20,000 and you're going to be working in 3 weeks, making $200,000 a year, and you believe them, then being a victim is very, very expensive for you, because you just paid $20,000 and you are not going to get a job. Does that mean that zero people actually make it through? No, some people do make it through if they work really, 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 really hard and they go above and beyond. But for me, I would say out of 10,000 people who might graduate from the same boot camp, 5 to 10 of them actually are able to make it through in the top end of the timeline that they're given. If lucky. That's how I see it. I could be wrong, but that is how I see it. All right, let's wrap. I'm gonna leave it there. But being a victim, and it's not just for like career transitions, being a victim in almost any circumstance is really, really expensive, right? I'm just saying. You know what? I'm gonna hit you with one of these.
I was gonna lie to you, but I had to tell the truth. I'm just being honest.
All right. So, and I want to talk about great intentions. However, many times bad results. So let's start this topic up. So here is the deal, right? Our friends, bless their heart, right? They have the greatest intentions, and they typically I'll say this. Your friends want the best for you. My friends want the best for me, right? However, the little issue that happens is that they don't really know what's best for us. They might not really know what goals that is that we're working on. And a lot of times our friends, with as great as their intentions are, they can lead us to having bad results. So what do I mean by that, right? So as you guys know, next week is competition. I've been preparing for this competition since, let's just say since January 2nd, right? Earlier than that, but really focused in, locked in January 2nd. The competition is on next Thursday. I'm not even sure. Is it like the 20th maybe? Probably the 20th. I don't know. But whenever I am getting ready for a competition, I am a ghost for my friends. I might text them, but I am not going to see them, because I know when I get around my friends, if I have them come over here, if I go over to their house, I am not going to be on my best behavior. I'm going to eat stuff that I shouldn't eat. I'm going to drink stuff that I shouldn't drink. And it is just going to be a whole mess. So I tell them, like, look, I want to see you guys. However, it's going to have to be after the mission has been accomplished. I cannot do it before because it'll throw me completely off of my goal. And I'm just wondering, like, have you guys ever experienced that for yourself? Like, you're working on something. You are doing so well. Like you're going for it. You're being very dedicated, very disciplined, all that good stuff, right? But then your friends who they don't understand, they might understand what you're doing. They might understand your goals. So like, so they're like, oh, but why are you doing this? Like you can take a break. You can like just relax, and then you like and you give in, and then you give in. And now you find yourself off course, off track, and now you have to work even harder because all the progress that you made, you lost a little bit of it. You lost a little bit of it, and now you have to go and work back at it. And you're like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? It's hard because guess what? All that hard work that you put in, it can be gone like that. So for me, I have to, I personally, like, because, and I'll tell you this, right? I'll tell you this. One of my best of friends, right? When we go to their house, like they're Cuban, right? And when we go to their house, they make the best Cuban food ever. And my friend's mom, if you do not eat the food that she makes, she will not talk to you for a whole year. She won't talk to you for a whole year. So that's why I'm like, all right. I said, look, we're going to get together in April, maybe the beginning of April, because I got to get through competition. And then here's the thing, right? I'm probably going to sign up for another competition in May in Miami, right? So now I have to sneak this one day of eating stuff that I probably shouldn't be eating. I have to sneak that in there and then get ready for the next competition. But I have to. But this competition that's next week, it's way bigger than the one in May, right? But this is the thing. Like, this is what I mean by your friends will have the greatest. Like, and it's not, when I say your friends, it could be your friends, it could be your family, whatever, right? Because even sometimes here, I'm like, thank you for the offer, but no. Right. And for me, it's easier to say no to my family that I see every day than to my friends that I don't see every day, because like I'll see them like once every few months and they're like, oh, we made this food for you. And it's like, I'm like, oh man, I gotta eat. And it's so good too. And it's so good. Like, oh, do you want a glass of wine? It's so good. I'm like, so I have to schedule wisely. Right. Because I'm like, if I go now, it's going to be a whole mess, and I'm going to have to work my way back. So.
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
So my message to you is, when you are working on a goal, right? If your friends or family or whoever is not totally locked in with your goal, because here's what it should be, right? If your friends are locked into your goal, and they know exactly what you're trying to do, and they see you try to deviate, they should tell you what is wrong with you. And that's why I'm annoying, because when I'm working with somebody on a goal, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're slacking off. Like, did you accomplish this yet? Like, what's going on? Right? I don't say, oh, it'll be better tomorrow. It'll be better. I'm like, no, what are you doing? Stay focused, right? But when your friends aren't locked in totally with you, they can be the cause that you get. I mean, at the end of the day, it's totally your fault because it was your decision, right? But it could totally be like, but you can get bad results or delayed results because you went off track, you went hanging out with your friends, and now you have missed the mark. So we have to carefully plan all of our activities. We can't just wing it. If our friends want to spend time with us, they have to be locked into our goals, or you have to tell them,
Do not come.
It is what it is. It is what it is, right? Let's go and check the chat, and then we'll get back to our next segment of work. All right. So, not embracing AI is dusty. It is dusty. So, why? Let me start. I'll put it like this, right? I'll put it like this.
I was gonna lie to you, but I had to tell the truth. I'm just being honest.
So, I remember I did this. I forgot what exactly the topic was, right? But I did something about AI. It was a clip about AI. And somebody commented, oh, AI is just spying on us, right? And I'm like, look, they don't need to use AI to spy on you. And guess what, right? And guess what? With all due respect, now I can say whatever I want, but with all due respect, right? Whoever made that comment, their life is not interesting enough to be spied on either, right? We always think that somebody's trying to spy on us and somebody cares. Like, look, most people don't have anything to be worth scammed for in the first place, right? So you think that they're gonna waste all of this energy and money and stuff like that just to spy on you? Nobody cares about you like that, all right? So, not embracing artificial intelligence, especially generative AI, is just dusty. Because so many different companies are headed towards that direction. I was in a meeting today, which was dedicated to generative AI and all the ways that we're trying to use it in order to enhance our customers' experiences and stuff like that. And one of the things that we're talking about is some concerns that our users have about it, but generally the feedback is very, very positive. They're like, all right, now it's like, all right, how can we control the tone and the delivery of the AI? But it's like the information itself is spot on. And it's like analyzing like video. Like let's say like this, right? Let's say you're a content creator. Let's take myself for instance, right? And I want to get feedback on like, all right, what are some mistakes that I'm making, right? What are some mistakes that I'm making? So generative AI could analyze the video and say, okay, you are doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this well, right? And giving you pure feedback on how you can improve your presentation, your communication. It can probably analyze your scenes and say, oh, this is too busy. I don't know. I'm just, not that I've seen this, but I'm pretty sure like that's something that could be accomplished, right? Like I said, I have in my coaching calls, in my meetings, I have a AI assistant that follows me around, takes all my notes and stuff like that. Do you know how hard it was for me to be in calls with people and take notes? Because it's like I feel like I'm not listening, I'm not coming because I'm trying to like jot down notes. Now I can just after the call I can just go and review the notes, and I have the option for the person who's in the meeting with me to also get a copy of what we spoke about and what are the action items that need to be taken before our next meeting. So when I see people like they're like, oh no. Yes, there are some considerations that are being made for AI, but trying to run from the future, this level of dustiness, right? This is the level of dustiness. This is what this is the same exact reason that people start to cry and complain when something takes their job. Like for all of the horse and buggy chauffeurs, when the automobile came around, and they were probably pouting and stomping their feet saying, no, this is not fair. This is not fair at all.
I hate it here. I want to go home.
Right? They get so like, people at the end of the day, right? People hate change. People hate change. And when I see the power that and the speed that AI brings to our workflows, to our lives, and I'm like, why are you being stubborn? Like, because guess what? You will be left behind, and as Will
Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
as Will Smith said in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when he picked Carlton over Jazz and what's his friend's name? Tay, maybe? I forgot the friend's name, right? The other friend's name, the one with the big eyes. And he's like, well, the wind in my eyes will dry my tears. If you're not looking to catch on to like what the future is bringing, and you just want to stay exactly where you are and stay dusty, then it is what it is. I don't believe anybody should feel sorry for you. When you see all these people all these people like crying and protesting on TV because they didn't adjust, they didn't adapt to where the market was going, and now the jobs that they used to work is no longer needed, but there's new jobs being created because I guarantee you with AI, it's going to be creating. I saw the other day that there were job openings for AI analysts. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? All in many different locations, AI analysts. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming because companies are going to start building their own large language models in order to train AI off of their data. So I'm just letting you know, be ready for what is coming. Do not be dusty. Do not, keep your head in the sand hoping to survive, because guess what? Nobody owes you nothing. Nobody's coming to save you. You got to get out there and do it for yourself. All right. That's why you see me working in the morning, learning AI. For tomorrow's description, right? For tomorrow's description for the Department of Justice versus Google, this is what I did. So creating description, I put in what the video is about, and then I put comma, and then I put the parameter for perplexity. To use perplexity to generate my description, because I knew that was going to be a recent current event, as opposed to just using OpenAI or Gemini, because they wouldn't have that most recent information that Perplexity has. So I'm using the things that I build every single day, right? So you need to get on the train. You need to get on the train, and when you're an early adopter, you can be one of the one of the leading people to control it in the way that you would want to see it, or use it in the way that you want, as opposed to you just looking on the being on the outside looking in, and everybody is walking by.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
All right, let me get back to the chat real quick, and then we'll go for our the timing is all messed up, but we'll go for one more 20-minute segment before we wrap it up for. So my closing thoughts for today is that you right there. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. You only care about yourself, right? And what do I mean by that? You only care about yourself. And guess what? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, I think you are being dishonest in how upset you portray yourself to be with all the things that we see going on. When it's like, oh my God, like here's one of my favorites.
Lunch break.
Here's one of my favorite things that's going on, right? When we see all of these measures for efficiency happening, and it's like, oh my, because number one, and I'm not talking about the federal government in particular, because during the pandemic time, a lot of like with all this PPP money that was being granted, a lot of companies, they hired a bunch of people that they didn't need. And then they had to make these drastic decisions later on to get rid of people in order for them not to go out of business, right? Which a lot of them probably still went out of business, right? So when I say that you only care about yourself, when you hear all these things are happening and you're like, they're cutting this team and that team and stuff like that, you don't really care about all the people who are actually being laid off. You care about you not getting laid off, or like you're like, oh, I don't want this to happen to me, which is totally fine. But don't make it seem like you are so heartbroken about what's going on. No, you're just afraid. You are just afraid because you're like, what if I'm next? What if I'm next? Well, because when I see all these drastic measures are being taken and stuff like that, guess what? If they find out that they made a mistake, they can just call the person back the next day and say, hey, we actually need you. And they'll figure it out from there. Or they'll just get somebody else. So for me, I'm like, look, I'm just watching. I'm just curious. It's like, look, if companies need to be more efficient in order to stay afloat, in order for people, like I would rather they make a 20% cut and the 80% still get to work, and hopefully the company is able to make it out of whatever they're going through, versus they're just trying to hold on and be strong. Because I'll tell you this, right? The last company I worked at, right? They were like, oh no, we're not going to make any cuts. We're not going to do it. All the stuff that they're trying to do, right? And then eventually they had to make cuts. And then eventually, they just closed their doors, and everybody ended up unemployed.
Bruh.
So, they and I don't think there's anything wrong with you caring about yourself. Now, the question is, how are you going to adjust? Are you going to pout about it, or are you going to like, all right, this is what I need to do, this is how I need to move in order for me to be successful out here in these mean streets of the world? I want to talk to you guys about doing what is meaningful versus what is expedient. That is also one of the rules for life from Jordan B. Peterson. But I see it manifest in my conversations that I have on a regular basis. All right. So it goes like this. It goes, let me put up a timer. Okay. Because you guys know that I will just go on and on and on if I don't have a timer to tell me to shut the hell up and move on. But here's the deal. So I'm having a conversation the other day, and the person I've been communicating with them for a while, been coaching them for a good amount of time, and they had one thing set in mind of what they wanted to do, right? And after some research, the last time we like to research is after some research, they come back and they say, you know what? I don't think I want to do this one thing anymore. Although this is my overall goal of where I want to get to, I think I'm going to change. I think I'm going to change my strategy, my plan, my major to this. And I asked, like, why is that the case? Why do you want to do that? And they said, well, because of X, Y, Z, right? And basically the X, Y, Z is it might be more in demand, and I can maneuver better and stuff like that. But I asked, all right, so my thing is, a lot of times we will choose what is expedient. Maybe it could be a college major. We're like, oh, I can become I'm going to, all right, so I'm going to take this course, this online course. I'm going to take this online boot camp because I want to go fast. And I know Mitch always tells me some people don't have the luxury of time. We all have time. It's just how do we allocate our time, right? But we want to go fast because we want it right now. The same way that people will job stack. We want what is expedient because it is going to deliver what we think is value immediately, right? But for me, I always say, you know what? But what is meaningful? What is going to give you long-lasting success? What is going to put you in a well-rounded position on, all right, if let's say the tale of two majors, right? You could take this major right here, which might be a little bit more complicated. However, it opens a way many more doors for you versus taking this other major, which is almost niche, right? And you don't And because it's going to be very, very specific, very drilled down, you can't really expand it into other areas. So you're going to pay a lot of money for something that is very, very specific, while you could pay the same amount of money for something that is broad, but then you have to put in the effort yourself to dive deep and focus into the things that are essential, right? And that's what I'm always thinking about. Okay, do I want to focus in on this little tiny speck, or do I want to go broad, and then from going broad in the realm that I'm in, now I can drill down into on my own, in my own ways, drilling down into things that are going to even add more value. So I'm like, okay, where is the value add? Do we ask ourselves, in what I'm doing right now, am I choosing to do what is meaningful, or am I choosing to do what is expedient? Because and this goes way more than tech. It just goes to, like, and Jordan Peterson says, it is a rule for life, because so many people, they find themselves in trouble because they just had to see it through. They just had to crash out, and they go and they go to do what is right in front of them, which is what is expedient, instead of focusing on what is meaningful to them, to the world, to society. So I'm always looking to maneuver, like, all right, what is the best way to do this? Because I still want to learn this thing. I still want to do this thing, but what is the best way to get there? What is the most meaningful way to get there? Not always necessarily what is the fastest way to get there, because a lot of times when you go fast, you don't see a lot of the scenery. You take shortcuts and stuff like that, and you end up losing anyways. I've seen so many people that they had such a bright future in front of them, but they wanted what's expedient. And now they could have been so far ahead from where they were 10 years ago. Now they're just they're just at a nominal spot. So for me, I'm always looking for, that's the question. And that's why I appreciate that rule for life from Jordan Peterson of do what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Because expedient, you'll get through something right now. You'll go to a boot camp. A boot camp is expedient, right? Can it be helpful? Of course it's helpful, because they teach you a lot of stuff.
Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
They teach you a lot of stuff that you did not know, right? But then they teach you also a very, very limited subset of what you don't know. And now you think that you are the ish, and you go out there onto the world stage, and now they say, okay, how do you do this? How do you do that? And you don't know, and you are utterly embarrassed because they just told you,
do not come.
Right? So I'm like, all right, if we get a well-rounded education on doing the things that are meaningful and not just the right now, right away, let's go out there and live it up, then you will be able to get way better opportunities. I don't care, like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it when my best friend Mitch says that, oh, not everybody can do that. Well, why not? What hole did they put themselves in that they're trying to dig themselves out of? And is it slow and steady wins the race, or do we race like the hare, and as we get to the finish line, we take a break and we utterly fail? That is my thought behind all of that. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the chat, as well as in the comments. All right. So with that being said, we are gonna go back to work. But before we go back to work, change your personality for a moment. So this one also stems from another conversation that I was having, and I received an amazing message from this person like the day or two after. Like they had a conversation and things went really well. Got a lot of buy-in. All right, but let me give you. So why do I say change your personality? Ain't nobody gonna change me, right? You guys, you've heard that sentiment before. I am who I am, and there is nobody, no, not one, not even the good Lord himself will get me to change off of the way that I am. Well, I disagree, right? I think that if we sometimes change our personality for the moment that we're in order to be successful, we might see that there is a better, like we might see that we enjoy having a different personality. So so this stems from, so I'm having a conversation with somebody, and they say that, oh, I'm new to this position of leadership, and I just don't pretty much enjoy talking to people, and because of this reason and that reason and all of that stuff, right? Because of all of that stuff, and I have to stop. I'm like, all right, hold on. What makes you think it's because of X, Y, Z you're having this trouble? Because for me, like when I have these coaching calls, when I have these conversations with people, I like to listen to what they're saying. And one thing I don't just like, oh, I have this, and that's probably why my calls end up going a lot longer than they're supposed to, right? But I like to listen to the problem that the person is having, and I'm like, okay, and then they say, oh, and they'll say, oh, well, because of this, that happened. I say, well, how do you know? And a lot of people say, oh, I just know. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. The one thing I do not stand for is when people say, I just know. I'm like, you don't know. You don't know why someone said this or why somebody said that. You don't know why somebody reacted in this way because you are not that person. And that's why I say that no one can really feel empathy, because you don't know the reasons why people react the way that they do. All right. So I'm having this conversation. I said, well, why do you think people respond this way? Why do people respond that way? Why do you think you're not getting any buy-in? And they're answering from their perspective, what they perceive might be the issue. I said, you know what? I don't know if that's really the case. I don't know if it's because of this or if it's because of that. But what I do know is if you actually have a conversation with with whoever, and you get buy-in. See, a lot of times we just want to tell people, all right, this is what it's going to be. This is how we're going to do it. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes that is necessary when it's mission critical. But most things are not mission critical. And most things, if you can get somebody to buy into your idea and into your vision, if you make them believe that it is their own idea, their own vision, then they will go head over heels for whatever it is that you want done. So it's at the end of the day, leadership is also marketing. Everything is marketing, right? And it's getting your idea into the minds of other people and them running with your idea, saying that, oh yeah, like I see, like, where is the value? And you ask, like, I need you to figure this thing out. This is the problem that we're having. This is the problem that the company is having, and I need you to figure this thing out. And once you put them, once that style of leadership is like, all right, I'm gonna be here in the trenches with you, but I need you to give me the ideas. Give me, like, say, what do we need to do to be successful? And you can ask that question just like that. You can ask that question just like that. What do we need to do to be successful? And what problems do you see that we're having that's holding us back? And you just listen to them. You just listen and you ask questions. You can listen, you can make notes of it, and then you can have questions. But once you get that buy-in from your team, you can't stop them after that, right? They actually care. And why do I say change your personality for a moment? Because you don't have to be a different person, but you do need to be able to step outside of yourself and say, well, I'm accustomed to doing it this way, right? That's how I normally do it. But is it possible that I can get better results if I do it a different way? Is that possible? I think so. I think it is possible. But we have to try. And a lot of times when we
Get a move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
A lot of times when we change our perspective, our position, our vantage point, then we see things in a whole new light. And you're like, well, I could be this person who is, you know, just go and do it, and I'm not going to have this conversation. And you see that you don't get the type of results or the buy-in that you're looking for, but you're the boss. But at other times, you're like, you know what? What if, as the boss, I have them come up with the idea to get this stuff done, and say, you know what? You're in charge of this, and you know, so it's on you guys, on the 4 of you, on the 5 of you, whoever, if you are going to be successful or not. And you know, if you guys fail, then that means I fail with you. But I don't think you guys want to fail. I don't think you guys are failures. I think that you guys have great ideas and that you guys have success. And I want you to take point on leading us there, right? So that's my thought. You know, change your personality just for a moment. You might like the new personality, but if you don't, at least by changing it just for a moment, you have a great opportunity to be successful. And then if you want to go back to whatever your personality is at that point, then by all means go ahead. But let's be successful first. Let's put our personality to the side and let's win. Let's be successful. And then on our own time, when there is no competition in hand, we can go back to however we like to be. All right. So that's my thoughts.
Still have a lot to do, I still have to put away the chairs. But anyway, I've got all the chores. Or anyway, it's up to me to do them all. I still have to put my clothes today. All in all, reality is cats, like an alley cat at your park. But now I gotta do your part. I got a day job and a night job and an interview at 5. You've gotten rid of both boyfriends and you've given me the green light. I got a day job and a night job and an afternoon away. You just waved a hand and we're engaged, you say. I've been up since 4 a.m. and finishing this at midnight. After this thing I should sell it and call it quits when the getting's good. I took a night at your new club today to take a break away from the rats. But now I got your locker stool and your car keys in my cart. I pick up the pieces left on the floor while you walk away like you don't care no more. I'm tired of cleaning every mess you make, slowly losing patience with every break. Every promise broken never leads to change. I'm the one who's always left rearranged. Your lack of effort shows clear as the day. I'll be sweeping you out when I find my way. Hey, hey, I'm the cleanup crew, fixing your mess just like it's new. Hey, hey, won't be here long, cleaning house, I'm moving on. Watching you take credit for the work I do, every single task I pull double through. Your empty words no longer faze me. Soon enough your history, just wait and see. Where's the spark, the dedication gone? I'm carrying weight, dragging us along. No more excuses, your time is past. This sweeps your fate, I'll make it last.